have to bring their best performance into this one.
I think we saw for retakes on the side of Tabson, who jumped for a Molotov from outside the window. Because if you have a T underneath the window, it's such a hard position to run into when you're exposed to the rest of the site to deal with. So if you have that retake Molotov,
hoje eu vou mostrar pra vocês como eu criei meu site incrível usando o Wix. Primeiro, você entra em wix.com. Aqui você tem um monte de opções de templates para escolher. Eles são basicamente sites prontos profissionais que podem ser totalmente customizados. O editor Wix tem tudo que você precisa para criar o seu site profissional, exatamente do seu jeito. Vamos adicionar um título, o que eu escrevo? Óbvio, né? Meu nome. Tá faltando alguma coisa aqui. Agora sim, gostei. Eu crio muitos vídeos pro meu canal do YouTube. Com o Wix Video, todos eles sincronizam automaticamente no meu site. Outra coisa super legal é esse chat que eu posso falar com os visitantes do meu site em tempo real. Você pode colocar bacon? Claro que pode colocar bacon. Bacon é vida, né? Vamos ver como ficou. Sério, tá propício, hein? Foi lindo. Ei, você tá aí ainda? Vá ao wix.com e crie seu site incrível hoje mesmo.
Kenny's going aggressive. Oh, he gets a tag. Is that a dink? Might be a dink. Quite a long range, so
it's like it,
perhaps it was. That's very depressing for Nico. So they're going to go for the classic B push, James. Seen one of these before. He's got this. He's got the PT-50. Oh, unfortunately, he has no Kevlar. And unfortunately, you cannot pick Kevlar up in this game. The non-silenced USP, that's kind of cool.
You mean the P2000?
Oh, I misread the audio completely. Let's see Carrigan, if he can get anything more here. It's so difficult. Smith's played it perfectly at the back box there on plateau. Absolutely perfectly. Just delaying, but, you know, threatening. And Carrigan is not long for this world. And finally, he will go down. So perfect. This is what you want to see. You want to see G2, you know, having that economy control straight away. As you know, we want to see them have a good game here. And Faze, they're going to go for the full force here. One would imagine they should, and they will.
They've got spawns towards the B-bomb site, but in a professional match that doesn't mean everything, and indeed they go towards the A site to a start. Smoke towards the Xbox, perhaps. And one towards it as well. But no one's pursuing long. Here as well, multiple targets. You can see how he's doing one versus one. A big grenade. They're in the reds, and now they're mostly dead. Carrigan again, the last man standing. 1 versus 2. He's got the bomb. Smith's moving through the smoke. Easy sound cues, and it might be a free kill. There is a spot up short where you could see Carrigan where he's standing currently. Smith is almost. Now he's got an off angle, and that will be that expensive round for G2. But they've got the 2-0.
Yep, what you want to see. Faze now with the block eco, might just see a mid rush or a big rush or a short rush, you know, something like that, just get the round over with. DUST2 is just so difficult with the blocks at all these ranges, open spaces. It's very difficult to do anything, even with a pop flash or two. So what some teams will do in rounds like this is they will have a flash or two and a smoke, and go for a short rush, and you can at least guarantee a plant just by running like lemmings across short with the help of those grenades. And one thing I'm looking forward to seeing from G2, we saw this top map existence push to get that, you know, we see him make that play, and that's the kind of aggressive play with this. I don't know what you see on DUST2, so it's quite fun to see that come into play.
Sauron, maybe? Body? I wanted to ask shocks actually how his arm is doing, because he had an operation on one of his arms to fix an issue he had. I actually have, I played at least 8 matches of Counter-Strike last night after the stream finished, because I went home to edit videos and instead just played Counter-Strike all day. So both my arms are sworn out from the WASD, among other things. Always good to get your stretches on. Look up Dr. Levi on YouTube. Making his way through the long doors. Body and Kenny are there. Safe near blue. Now you often see players. Oh, never mind. Gets his bell rung. He'll smoke grenade, which means that Faze has to respect it, and that may keep one T behind it as he looks through the window, but nothing doing.
Yeah, so Existence has bought some time, but there's just not too many players left on his team, so they're going to call this out. And Olfmeister are looking to hunt him down, and he'll be successful once again.
For those of you on GoTV, I mean, Olfmeister was an animal on Mirage. We did mention him not as much as we should have in terms of a GoTV pick. We didn't prioritize him, but for DUST2. Oh, I don't know. There's just too many good players, Dan. Who do you...
Nico. Oh, that's just gorgeous. That is so satisfying, isn't it?
I know. I'm not surprised either, but I'm trying to... Like, Nico's an easy pick. I'd like to pick someone else, but just pick Nico, I don't know.
For so long, so that he can go very deep, and if there is a player close, that he's not going to get spotted out. And he actually, when the guy peeks, he peeks looking to think that that Nico will be closer than he is. So then Nico still gets an advantage.
You know, I think I have to pick Nico and Olfmeister. Both, again, at least for the T side of DUST2. Now in Mirage, there was pretty much only one side that we saw. But that is the first round on the board for Faze Clan and G2. Now we have to miss with an AWP as well. Was notorious for his action with the AWP in mid, primarily before it was nerfed. And now we see this boost commonly, and Kenny is looking for it. 2T's boosting behind this box.
And this is something that G2 were strong at. We saw in their first DUST2. There was only one map, but we saw what they did is they would give up long all the time, and they actually played well just defending the A site. Bonnie going aggressive here. It looks pretty deadly because Nico's on the other side of things, and he's going to be good for it. Does take some damage, but obviously a 5v4 is always going to be so nice on the T side of DUST2 or any map. And now Kenny goes back to the short, and they must be confused here, seeing absolutely nothing on short, yet they know long is gone. Perhaps, and they're not thinking this B. So they're not rotating here. Still with the right amount of players on the A side. This is good for G2.
Existence with no more grenades and a UMP. Very exposed at the moment. 45-second mark, and 4 of the 5 players are on long for Faze. Carrigan holding off rotation, harassing the short position as well, which G2 are trying to fight for. So now G2 feel very nervous. Existence has seen so much, but there's no grenades, no flashes. Smith, he's on B, that's it. They've just got to fight. Guardian to pick off the shots now. Choose to boost behind that smoke, but Existence is the only person there, and back away once again. Hold on to what you have very desperately, and Carrigan will get these sound cues, but Kenny's still on short, and that would be a big scalp for Carrigan to get.
So I think that Faze is up a smart way. Oh, that's a great shot from Kenny as they try to run the gauntlet and survive. All get together on that B-bomb site. But it was really cool because they had a lurker in lower dark, as you normally would, but the way that they were sort of pressuring short with just like one player at a time, and the fact that they threw that smoke onto short and had cut noise so long on for such a long period of time on the long position, really started to suggest that perhaps they rotated back towards B after threatening. If they had done that, if the CTs did rotate back to B, then the player in the lower dark position would hear that rotation, and then they would have a perfect timing on the A bomb site. Now G2 never did that, even though they had no information on whether it was going to be A or B. They just held on to the A site. We saw Existence eventually shoulder peek the long position to get the information. But I like that Faze gave themselves a bunch of options, and they created decisions which could have just collapsed the round for G2. Obviously they ended up losing the round anyway, but that just shows the level of understanding of DUST2 from Faze.
Before Existence made his exit from the top French teams, I remember on the T side of DUST2, G2 were very habitual, and if you saw Device on the CT side when he was playing short of an AWP, he would always stare into the wall waiting for the pop flash into lower tunnel and then scope behind it every single round after round after round after round. So something to look out for on the T half if G2 have fallen back into predictable ways, or if they'll be more unpredictable. And we have seen more aggressive plays from them. They haven't really worked out against Faze so far, quite obviously. So this is a more dynamic G2 in theory at the very least. Faze is their toughest test.
Oh wow, interesting. This is a lot of investment into this a lower dark position. Can he buy the smoke? Doesn't see anything here. Jumps across and up onto short. And with a player in the lower dark position and Smith's getting a kill against the creep, this is going very well for G2 right now. Rain responds, and Rain the ability to push onto that A site, because right now Faze are losing a lot of ground. Olofmeister will defend against Existence, and now Rain spots the AWP on A. Where do Faze go with this? They have over a minute to play this one out.
G2 have not seen the bomb yet. Guardian's been very passive, as I say to the news. Almost a double peek with Olofmeister, and now the bomb's been spotted. Smith's on the site with an AWP. Kenny rotating. Raymond won't hear that from where he is. And now Kenny's looking towards T spawn, I believe. So, oh look, he's expecting the rotation, looking to the far left so he can react. Oh, that is brutal timing for him. Absolutely brutal timing. Who knows if he might have got a frag there. Basically positioned himself for a reaction shot. Might have been good for it, but now the opportunity's been lost. Olofmeister gets picked up in a suicide position, and now might be suicide from long.
Just goes for it though. There's 30 seconds for Rain to make this work. Does he just try to do some damage here? Might be a smart smokes low. He does have that free path onto the bomb site, but Smith with a pot shot through the smoke, surely, I don't think there was any gaps, will take down Rain. And that's a big deal, because Rain would have had time to play a post bomb there, and even if he only gets one kill, that's a pretty big deal. And there you go. There's the first couple of kills, and oh, okay, there was a gap after all.
Didn't look like it from Rain's point of view. And I was thinking, like, how's he getting all these? He's got so many kills through smokes. That's crazy. There we are, G2 with round number 4 on the boards. FaZe Clan buying now. Guardian will be on the AWP. I love the history in this game, the heritage. That's like one of the things, one of the reasons why it stands the test of time in comparison to other games. Just going back to how DUST2 used to be and watching Guardian's POVs and learning so much about the theory of sniping and how you position yourself and your expectations with some. Guardian's been a great example of that year after year after year. They go through the smoke again, just bouncing it off the off double stack in CT spawn. So the T's don't know how many players are going to the B bomb site. Hello.
Oh my god. If only he knew.
Yeah, he's unlikely to take a shot there, because who knows if people would try to. He'll see the grenade. There is one. He spots another player. All going for the flick, and now there are more numbers, but Kenny S comes across. When does Smith choose to wait for the time being, and the numbers start to thin yet more. There's a scope finally with flashbang supports, and now versus 5. Looks like a stable G2. That is quite the ding dong right there.
Yeah, it's like a double dink. Okay, so 5 rounds for G2. FaZe have been shut down. Their economy is a shambles, and they need a full eco. And you can see once again, Smith plays this really well. Obviously, there's the second kill. Smith is just hiding. Kenny gets a shot on the cross, and so often on these bomb site defenses, if your team has good communication, or if you have good communication, you can often get that kill and then play for delay. Use your utility, use your spots well, so you can get that delay, and your teammates can start to come in and cause a lot of problems for those teams. Astralis played a master. So you can watch them for that. It gets played out and finished off. Perhaps FaZe will have more to offer in this next round. Is there a change of approach from them? Ooh, Guardian Guardian could have gotten an AK out, but he just goes for the scout, James. Gets a scout in there.
DUST2 CT side is a great example of how to flash for your teammates, because we all know most people don't know how to do that. But like when you see Smiths behind the box on B, you should know how to flash over the top of B. So take a fight the entrance to B while the flash goes off behind them. Position, but enough about that. We've got Faze charging towards the short position. Spotted immediately. The fadeaway grenade, he's blinded off the wall now. Existing. Battle sniper moving in. HU of his own. That's a great shot from him. You won't be able to see over those flames properly, but of course it's time to fall back with their advantages.
Yeah, that's kind of a strong setup, isn't it? You push the rifler off the box, and then you're like, okay, we can gain ground, we can gain position. Then Kenny comes in from a much deeper angle, further back into the site. You just lured into that trap. And the 3v5 here is going to be very difficult. You can see Existence up on that box. If they try to go for that mid-split onto B, it's really hard to deal with that position. And Shox finds a pixel gap, and will eliminate Olofmeister, leaving now 2 here for Faze. And life is not good right now for them. There's that smoke, but surely Existence will be able to take down Guardian. And too good here. Faze not a single frag until Guardian. But perhaps not too much more is left to do. Indeed, Guy will be eliminated as well. And G2 on 7 rounds. Yeah,
this is great. Hopefully Mirage can just be a distant memory and they can make a competitive match out of this. So far so good, with Faze still on 2 rounds. Maybe they thought this match was won, apparently not.
Yeah, it's a good point. You got to make sure that you stay humble and try to play all your opponents more or less the same way. Obviously, there are going to be sort of characteristic differences in how you might make certain decisions against certain styles of team, but generally speaking, never want to underestimate anyone. That's always
stay humble.
It's always the goal. And Faze, if they're not careful, and G2 finish with double digits in this first half, G2 is suddenly a pistol round away from taking map number 2, and Faze need to muster a better T-side here, and they've got 5 deagles to do it. A single fire.
Meat shots. You gotta love Nico on a deagle.
Anything.
You gotta love Nico on a deagle. Nico or Lecro, best deagle player?
Well, I would have said Lecro, but I haven't seen as much.
I think you gotta say Nico. You must. Lecro's in the conversation though. 7-2. Not many kills just yet. A surprising start to the T side of DUST2, it must be said. Again, the AKs and so on. They have some advantages. And now Shox has an AK. Smith's enjoying life. Box. Ill-timed rotation, but he gets away with it. Nico and Rain remain. No damage to the CT economy just yet. And the money's looking really good for G2. Of course, that can quickly disappear on a CT side, but it's all good in the hood right now. The plant.
Well, that was short-lived. I've got to say that Kenny is definitely a massive problem always on DUST2, and he's been playing the A-bomb site really well. He's a very dynamic AWPer, and it seems like Faze have struggled really massively on building rounds into A or into B. And earlier in the tournament as well, we didn't see the best things from Faze on DUST2 as well. It looked quite flat, and perhaps it's just a map in which they aren't fully prepared on. It's hard to say, but G2 looks getting down to 1. That's pretty crazy that he's able to escape that. What a blessing. Oh, not so much for Existence though. We saw that before. We mentioned that earlier. The Existence pushing top mid. Nico's so ready for that.
Yeah. Forward G2 to catch Faze off guard. As I say that, of course, Shox just runs in through lower tunnel, and Carrigan just finds out too late. 4 remaining players for Faze Clan towards the long position. They've got some funky smoke grenades from Body. A massive gap for Monsieur Kenny S. But Body's been taken out. Now, it seems that G2 has a good idea of the intention of Faze Clan here, all on long, etc. Oh, the timing is just absurd. And there are 2 players long and 2 players on the site for the CTs, but for the Ts rather. But Shox, he's done a very good job there of evening up the numbers.
I have no idea who's killing Kenny with 1 HP. Oh my goodness. Nico will take him down as well. 3 kills right now for Nico. Smith's on the rotation from B, the long rotation. Against 2 AKs, how will he pull this one off? Well, he won't. Bruno shut him down, and Faze finally with another round on the board. That's 3 against G2's 8. And G2 still have some cash.
Yeah, they've got that money. They've been stacking under the mattress. Existence, running for a bus. And Nico shut the doors quite firmly. It's a noble effort, the two kills there from Shox. Again, the problem with those pop flash plays on a retake as a CT is that no matter which way you look, there are very likely to be Ts behind you. So that's why if you're a T side and you've got big numbers, just all run to the A side to keep people of that smoke grenade. Existence again, he refuses to be told no. Keeps running up top mid. This forward 1 minute 40. Who does this benefit? Now you wonder with that Molotov behind blue if G2 got some. The Astralis hold of long. Ooh. Lovely flick from Olaf Meister. 1 more to find in the pit though.
That is such a frag, isn't it? He knows there's 1 more. This is really important. Shox is isolated here. He's going to get some support coming in from Smith. He might throw a flash. Smith has 1 flash, and that could come in here for Shox to maybe peek, but Shox has gone very deep. So instead of throwing the flash for Shox, he's holding the angle, and you can see Kenny's locked them in from the other side. But there are 2 other Ts that could make life complicated for Kenny. This is on a knife's edge this round, despite being down a play in some interesting positions. And Kenny gets his flick straight to the face. Nico's down. So now Faze, they're feeling panicky. What about Shox though? Did they forget he's in the he's down 1, and Smith falls up onto Rain, and it's looking fantastic here for G2.
Where does Carrigan go? He's got a flashbang, goes into spawn, which takes Smith off the angle for a short time, but Smith has the cross. Is he going to hold the gap with the AWP? That is the question. This is very hittable. Close to the doors. And no connection made. 1 versus 2. There is a Molotov onto Shox, but he's coming in from the halls area. Now, if he was coming in from the window, he spoke about that already. Holding a line, is just yet. No, not quite hitting the mark there. And Smith up close will be the man to do the job. Smith delivering on DUST2 as he often has in the past.
You can see Carrigan quite disappointed with that one. The bottom right of your screens. And that was a real chance indeed. And a much needed round for Faze. But G2 absolutely outplayed them. I was going to say, you brought up the question, the 4v4, who does it favour? And yeah, the 4v4, who does it favour? And it's on DUST2. It's so good, like for the Ts, because rotation times are so huge. If you get a 4v4 early, it's supposed to be very favourable for the T side. But the problem there was that for Faze was that G2 was so proactive that instead of having an issue with rotation times, they closed down the space on the map around Faze, so it didn't become an issue. So if you play it like that, it can be quite favourable for the CTs. But not, it's hard to do it though. But Faze did it well. And Faze, well, GT did it well. But what are Faze up to here, James? They're on 2 CZs. That's not a good sign.
No. Now there are annoying lurk smokes that you can throw from which land at the front of the site. Allow you to burst behind them. Olaf Meister and Carrigan with some smokes. Looks like Olaf Meister is lining up the mid to B, and Nico maybe the opposite side, which does allow them to get into mid without players seeing them from the window position of B, for example. So they can go deeper than they normally would. There is the smoke, as shown by Mr. Here is the creeps. Shot doesn't quite.
Can he do some clutch moves. There's a beautiful couple kills, and that might be just enough here if G2 are close with Body and Kenny. Are they interested in this one? It'll be very difficult. The player's already crossed there, so Kenny won't be able to get an easy one, I don't think. And, oh, it's not enough, those 2 kills from Smith. It was a good effort, all things considered.
I guess that was the lurk smoke I was talking about, which just goes beyond the steps. So again, you can burst out of it. Obviously, you are susceptible to being sprayed if somebody is there with an M4. You can jump up onto the double stack as well, if you're brave enough. But there we are. Round number 4 for Faze. 6-9 still possible from their perspective, and that would be a reasonable enough score at the end of this half with a very strong start. Default plant.
Faze, they managed to get something going, James. The economy's still okay for G2 though, but you know, Faze, they're giving themselves a chance to get at least 5 rounds on the board. They're going to be somewhat comfortable here moving into that second half potentially. And Guardian's on the AWP, and he's not had a great game. You know, Guardian, you definitely think of Guardian as one of the tip-top AWPers when it comes to your DUST2 game. Someone you definitely want on your team in a pub. And all of us got that fast positioning towards long, very difficult to deal with for the CTs. It's been voiced by many. And Faze will get it for free from G2. That seems to be G2's approach. They don't really fight for it as many teams try to. They just take short and they're happy with it.
A wall of isolation, 2 smoke grenades. It's fun when you see the other wall across the long path. Wall of smokes to isolate a CT player. Again, support flashbangs are so important on DUST2 for a CT side, and it is a great educational example for people at home. This map, Body and Shocks taking the short position, a standard response to losing long. Take short, lose short, take long. Got to hold on to something for a retake attempt. Now the bomb is moving towards the B bomb site, and commonly in this situation, when long has been taken by a T side, you will see them spending a lot of time in long with big numbers as well, ultimately pushing long. So this may be a surprise for G2.
In response to this lurk smoke that James was talking about, the auto sniper, it can't really be punished. If you threw a shot through with the AWP, that might be good timing for the T's to burst if they're close, but auto sniper counters that pretty well. Maybe be going for it after hearing that auto sniper. Smith could be very dangerous in this position with the auto sniper. Again, that's before. Olofmeister, fantastic 180. Holding his own there, and Smith gives up the side, only to be headshot by Nico. Faze is crushing this round somehow.
Really great adaptation. Being out of position with an auto sniper is a really bad situation. Left with 13 HP, 1 versus 5 with the AWP. He goes as well. Faze somehow don't lose a single player in that round.
Okay, that's awesome from Olofmeister. He just walks into A by himself, and there's all sorts of problems. It doesn't seem to be a problem if you're Olofmeister though, and that is a stunning one. I'm wondering about the timing of Smith's rotation though, because was he trying to play for just complete retake, or you know, what was the thinking? I'm not sure, but whatever it was, Faze have bought a couple extra snipers in this round to hammer those balls.
Auto sniper beyond the last round of a half on DUST2, it serves really no purpose in pretty much any situation for a T side. So you should never buy one, but if you drop one, sometimes it serves its purpose to the CTs. It can make your life worse. It's fun to no scope with them though, especially the CT one. Surprisingly good. Olofmeister just camping outside long for the time being, almost in a prone position. Guardian, Nico and Rain in mid, and Carrigan keeping the CTs honest. So maybe looking for more of that aggression from the C2 side. Not quite deep enough there, I would say, in the corner. Existence has an angle on shorts. Will he be? No, he's in CT actually. No, he's not. He's on short. Radar problems. So
they're really threatening the B split here, but they're actually going to go for an A split instead. So they're really banking on causing a rotation from G2, but G2 aren't doing it. They're actually just stacking towards A. So G2, if Existence can get a kill or two, will be positioned maybe quite. Ooh. Oh my goodness, what a 180 there from Carrigan. However, they will lose short, but Carrigan enough there. He's going to have some help coming in here. His help is now down. Delivers. And Smith now up to him. Guardian making things complicated, but Smith has a very fast timing. Can he get there quickly enough? Not quite. Maybe he has. He's going to get that through the smoke. Very awkward. And Smith will shut it down. A 10-5. That seems like perhaps a communication problem, James, there.
Some parkour from Guardian at the end. Left the bomb on shorts as well. And that proved fatal. 10 rounds for G2. Is it enough, though? Is it enough? I think it's down to them to convince us and the audience at home that they can take this one over the line. Again, the last map, I believe, is overpass between these two sides. Can G2 take it there? The AKs have been taken away from Faze Clan, and they did not prove very useful on this occasion. Olofmeister with 10 frags for his team, but it's Smiths and Kenny leading the server with 16 frags, a stark difference to Mirage.
Indeed. G2 have given themselves a really good chance here. And Faze, you know, running out of some ideas perhaps here or there on that T side, and struggling with getting that momentum away from G2's side. Now the pressure is really on. Pick up that pistol. Otherwise, it's going to be in some serious trouble here against G2. Okay, what do we have in the bag for Faze? We've got the kick smoke on Carrigan, everyone else with Kevlar, as standard as you like. And maybe just a quick B-rush here from G2. Hard to argue with it if that's the case. Are they going to go straight for it? Yes, they will.
Slowly jumping out. His job there is a decoy just to pull the guns away from the rest of the team who are looking to frag. And that is Nico charging through the halls area, and Existence doesn't get a frag, but he's got the info for his team. Kenny crouching now, doesn't really have the tool for the job of it. Carrigan delivering as manages to get a kill there. Shock spider car position. There's one. Now it's a 2 versus 1. And as here, Smith surely comes out, but by range crouching, double headshot from Shocks. He is ready for that 3.
Yeah, great defense there. And I love that G2 just keep it simple with the B-rush. You know, sometimes you just don't need to complicate things. You know, we see teams on these pistols, they'll send players all over the place. And that, especially if you're playing against the team that's better, that's actually perhaps not a great way to do it. You want to keep things as simple as you can. Sometimes the B-rush is as good as any round. And we get the anti-eco buy here from G2. Olofmeister going and getting himself a Deagle. Did someone drop that for him? Perhaps Guardian, because he's got Deagle Kevlar.
Variance.
Yes.
Carrigan's, well, the G2 VAR could be in the red right now. Is VAR variance? There's variance, isn't it? On the net graph. That's all it stands for.
Probably. I have no idea.
It must be variance.
I know that CVAR is a console variable.
So maybe it's variable something or other. Variable ability to play counter. I'm sure somebody will tweet me what it means. It's not what you think it means, what it actually means. Tweet me facts. You've got to hashtag facts, otherwise I won't believe you.
So what I'm worried about for Faze here is if they spend too much money in this round and don't have a proper buy round on the first buy round. CT economy is notoriously flimsy on DUST2. You need everything. Double ops really is preferred if you can get there, and absolutely you need full utility to still be able to counter grenades late round and so on and so forth. So now we see G2 looking to finish things off, and I think so far. He's still alive though. He's not alive. That's how many more headshots can he find? One more to go. Nico always looks dangerous. Number 3 in the bag. 2 more players to go, and Nico has suddenly made this a round. I have no idea how. What else can he find? My God. Something else to smoke to cause pressure, but Existence will finish him off. My God, James, he has 1v5 and he makes it look winnable. Who is this guy?
He is so consistent with a Desert Eagle. I do not understand. I cannot compute
I shouldn't say
it's so consistent. It's stupid.
Yeah, I shouldn't say who is he, but what is he?
What is he? It's a good question.
Is he? Is he human?
It's all that Serbian barbecue, man. It just gives you powers.
Powers unknown. I feel awake now. I'm more awake.
Dude, Nico and Adigo, you just don't know. Well, you do know what's going to happen. People are going to get shot in the face.
It's true. It's true. I think Nico is top one Deagle.
Because he does it every time. Every time.
Like how they had like 4 people to take down Shox there. Like, you know, Shox is like a bear, and you got 4 people to like throw a net over it to capture it or something. Shox top 1 US. Yeah, in contention for such things. Quick USP frag. Obviously that silence does give you some extra time if you come in for the backstab. Hides your location. But it'll be 13-5. The worst has happened here for Faze. They have lost not only 1 pistol round, but 2 pistol rounds, James, and combined with not the most ideal half, they now are really without any margin for error. They will be able to get the 2 ops together, but this has to start well. This has to go well for them.
Double sniperoo. Guardian and Nico. This is a big buy, the biggest of buys for FaZe Clan, but are they expectant of something from G2? You can see Nico doing more talking, so maybe he has an idea, maybe of what G2 wants to do, maybe of what FaZe want to do. They'll have position to begin with, for the most part. Obviously, the timing of long does allow it to be contested quite violently. So what do they choose to do? Do they put a sniper in position on long? There's a sniper flashbang support to help them. Many questions to be asked. It would be cool, actually, if we could... Oh, no, never mind. Kenny's got a spawn. Maybe he goes for a peek long. I was going to say to look at the CT, he would float us. Never mind. There we go. Rain will regret that one, but the other 2 CTs will take the area. Smith's in low tolerance. Meister moving around the CT spawn.
What a start for G2. It gets really difficult on this map as the CTs, the rotations are so big. Look, I mean, you can see it. Look how spread out on the mini-map the FaZe players are. That's always very difficult to deal with. And or rather, if he's flashed off correctly, smoked off correctly, he shouldn't get a chance to really use the AWP as they cross over, if things are done as they should be. And he's going to reposition towards A long here, and it is going to be Olofmeister now creeping onto the A positions, playing the slope there, and G2 look like they are wanting to retake the long position. This could be a way back in for FaZe, as they have a defensible setup here.
There's a gap to have a look at. Oh, got to be careful, don't want to fall off. Oh, he's made a step, and he made a step, right?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. But I'm not 100% sure. There's a flash. He's not expecting to play on the high ground. There is something with a nervous shot, perhaps. Great frag from him. Oh, the distraction is brutal. Olofmeister does what he can, but isn't not enough on this occasion. And now it's Guardian trying to run away, trying to escape as G2 move to 14 rounds. They may look good for this game, Dan.
Yeah, it's that first missed shot, isn't it? That's the one that Nico has to hit to make sure that he gives or relieves enough pressure so that he can take shots. And then it was just a snowball effect. And then you see Olofmeister from the graffiti seeing that trying to make the play which gets the maximum amount of kills with the highest risk by waiting as much as he can, because now he's lost Nico and he's alone, so he needs to kill everyone, otherwise the round's just lost anyway. So it snowballs out of control, and he needs to keep this AWP alive. And looks like he's good for it at this point. That's defended well. 14-5. You need, like, effectively for FaZe to have a buy, they actually need to half buy here and save for this last round and then play for overtime if you actually want a proper buy. So this is a very hard call to make, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, they have to win 9 rounds or 10 rounds. What is the difference? They'll go for it now. I don't know if there is a bad decision to be had here, really, because you can't really afford to lose a round either way. So whatever you think you can do better. You've got some utility. Guardian with the sniper. Where is Guardian? He's over towards the B-bomb site for now. Able to rotate as necessary. Olofmeister moving towards that car position as Guardian. Look at that peak from Guardian. This is what I'm talking about. The elevated peak, so if somebody has the angle, because, well, if someone has the angle, then obviously he would get legged. Those are one of the many things you can learn for watching Guardian.
Legged.
Legged.
Legged. Yeah. This is a position where it seems like Astralis shine when they're down this much. You know, Astralis is such a good team to look at as far as, you know, how do you grind out this much of a comeback. Rain is going to defend well here on the short position. That is the second one. G2 on short. This has not gone well at all for G2. Now they're going for that drop down into mid, going for the B perhaps, but with this crossfire, Guardian, but maybe that's all you need. Second one comes in. Is doing what he needs, what he must, to hold on to every single gun. They're going to not lose a single player. That is so important. Yeah, my God.
That is huge. Now that turns things around a little bit.
Nico gets an AK as well.
Nico with an AK and 3 AWPs on the side.
Gives it to Olofmeister.
Not a bad choice, really. Well then, 8th rounds for Faze Clan, and G2 are going to have the Hero AK on existence. And 4 CZs and the remainder of the team. Now, we get into that simple territory where Y is...
Unless he's going to go in first for a pick and then the AK is going to drop straight away, you want Shox on it for sure, right?
Well, I just don't think there's any scenario where Shox doesn't have the AK. There's no acceptable scenario at all. Because if someone goes in first and you have Smith jumping around to take the bullet to the president.
President Shox. Yeah.
President Shox. You bullets, you fools. Oh, that's meaty like a lasagna. Will be the first engager. Oh, he missed the 3 shots, strafing. Smith is still alive, and the swarm is still alive though on existence. That is a bomb site with G2. Nico has something to say about it. Bouncing the HE off the box, behind the Xbox, leaving Smith in the red.
He is very red. 18 health. That's a... he goes for the peak. Oh my goodness, he knows exactly what those misses, it seems. Very nicely done. Doesn't allow Smith to really do anything. And Nico, you know, picking up that really quick shot into the window from the mid position was this one here. That was such a big shot. If he plays that, this round just is lost.
That HE is something that everybody... What?
Wait, what?
What is that? That HE that he throws is something everybody has to know, because I'm guessing a lot of people go outside the window and just throw them towards the back box. But the Xbox is such a strong position to hold, because you can see heads appear. So if you bounce a grenade off the back wall like that, it does massive damage, and there's almost always somebody there.
Speaking of big damage, Olofmeister damage, and a fast timing here from Smith, just going in really quickly towards that A-bomb site, which is really cool. That's going to pull the defense back from long, perhaps, which might open things up should D2 have wanted to push long at the same time, but they don't go for that, and instead, you know, hanging around middle, and, you know, Olofmeister and Guardian going to be enjoying that. 5v4 for them, as Olofmeister up for the 1v1. In comes the push, he goes for it. A beautiful flash comes in from a teammate, but he can't capitalize. Leaves it to Guardian instead.
Off angle from Guardian to start, because people will be looking. Body has snuck into a body of territory, which is not supposed to be his. Holding an angle as his teammates move in, but if there was a sniper, maybe the barrel would show, but beyond that, I'm not quite sure. The bomb used thrown over, maybe. Maybe in case Guardian was here, firing in all directions. 5 bullets remain in his magazine, and he's got 4 targets to hit.
Yeah, this doesn't look doable, especially if you consider the economy game. Indeed, there it is. They can't afford to lose these orbs. So be really careful on the retreat here. You can't take it for granted. You can see Guardian's far enough away now that he can scope in and fall back more. And G2 on map points. And
would you believe it?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing, you know. Faze, they lost both pistols, and their first half did look, their T side looked really flat. It looked really flat.
Not to say they will go out, but if they do, you want them to have a proper showing of themselves at the very least.
Yes.
And we're seeing that on DUST2. Who knows what comes if if map number 3 rears its head. But for now, we're seeing something of G2, which is really a sigh of relief after the horror, the nightmare, the crime scene that was Mirage.
Yeah, Mirage was just like a really disgusting meal, and this is the mouthwash right now. Just clean it all out. Minty, clean breath, forget about it.
This is the regurgitation.
That's not really exactly what I was going for, James, but you just want to say regurgitation. You just like these horrible images, don't you?
Regurgitation.
So
this is the Heimlich.
See, now you're just saying random things.
Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah, what does that got to do?
It's not random, it's relevant.
Why is it relevant?
You spoke about meal, I spoke about regurgitation, and then Heimlich.
What,
it's all relevant, it's all related.
Are you saying you were choking or something? Or someone's choking?
It's regurgitation, isn't it? The style points to the Heimlich.
Heimlich maneuver. Alright. Also, a good song by Interpol. Anyway. Ooh, Olofmeister finds a pick straight away in this round. Definitely something Faze needs. It seems like it was straight through the smoke, as smoke is firmly placed in the tunnel there. And G2, you know, a very quick 4 versus 5 to play off of. Are they going to mess around, or will they just try to take some map control here? I see them making some presence around the mid area, and Kenny's looking for any investigation from Faze. But at this point, Faze are playing a fairly safe 2-1-2 setup. They've given up short entirely, and they would be playing a retake on A, but absolutely holding on to A long, which is good because the fastest rotation for retake for B players is through short. So if you're going to give up A for retake, it's a long. Oh, that's not a good look. No flash, nothing, James, to help him out.
That's not good at all.
Oh dear.
Neither is being on fire. I was on fire once.
What happened?
Not like Richard Pryor. I got shot in the stomach with the Roman candle and it burned a hole in my jumper.
Got shots by a candle.
Roman candle.
It's not sure.
Oh. Never mind. Alright. From the mid position from the T's, a smoke. And this is surely going to be a Existence in a red, now run distraction. They have to fear plays from B, which is why Existence turns around. Nico does shoot from B. Sorry, from A rather, over the smoke. And now Kenny's left alone to wonder about Roman candles and such. No. That's a lovely pop flash. Did he survive?
Oh, hello.
Alright then, 7 rounds between the two teams. Faze continue to climb the mountain. The timeout has been called by G2. They've just been reset. That's a nice position from range. You can jump up those boxes on your own, so you can preempt a mid to B smoke and take the plays by surprise, fall off afterwards. Nico was on the A slope, and of course he can see over the smoke and cover the doors at the very least should the T's move towards that B bomb site. Well, it's been 3 from the last 4 for FaZe Clan, but of course it was 4 in a row for G2 having won the second pistol round. Smiths is 20-for-9. He's the only person to die less than 10 times
playing that
in this game so far.
Playing that B box on the first half was really good for him.
He was well protected, like a mob boss.
Yeah. Oh, still nothing bought by G2 here. Big guy 4 blocks. Alright, okay. Get one flashbang from Existence, and that is it.
No, Dan, you're lying to your audience. You are misleading and defrauding the audience. Exactly.
As well.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't know how this. Well, I know exactly how this is going to go. It's not going to be good. Suspected. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's. That's. What do you call that? What? New rounds, perhaps. 9 rounds for FaZe now. They are forcing 6 away. Some rudimentary mathematics for you, Jay.
It's closer than you think.
It is, yeah.
6 rounds.
Absolutely,
because half of those are pistol rounds for the T's if they lose.
And also, if Faze pick up this rounds, they face against Nico again, and should there be no complications there, they're already on 11 rounds, and all of a sudden it's not too far away.
Say if the T's don't plant the bomb, then it's difficult. If they plant the bomb, they can buy every round because they get 200.
When it gets the 5th loss bonus, at least.
Yes,
that's.
I forgot to add that part.
Yeah. And he will be on the 3rd loss bonus after this round. Should they lose this round, and they're well equipped. We saw this position work out well previously, with some baiting, some footsteps, and then the flashbang came in from the CTs, and the P came in, and well, hello, I'm above you.
So, from a psychology point of view, if you're trying to be an in-game leader spurring on your team, rather than 6 rounds, you can consider it technically 3-5. It could have been 3 or 5 rounds, guys. Just focus on that. That may be some mental relief for the rounds in between, where they won't feel the pressure so much and perform better, in theory at least, in my theory, Bible theory. Coming to stores now. Soon.
There's only 3 grenades here on G2. Oh, well, okay, now 2. I'm not sure where that smoke just went.
There is a lurk smoke outside the B, well, inside B.
Because how do you get through these choke points now? Just 2 flashbangs? They're going to have to just hit some crazy shots, get some good peeks in. Faze have 2 orbs as well, and a man advantage and utility. Carrigan spotting one close. Nico goes behind them, and can he hit the shot? There's the first man in pit or Nico. Well, Nico has support. There it is, and the setup will deal with the long push. And now it's just these 2 players coming up short.
They have at least pulled these players out of position, avoided the flashbangs, plant the bomb for short, hold on to short. That's there's no pop flash. Tease a spray transfer, not quite there. Kenny missing his shot, and obviously he's very exposed after that, moving behind the boxes. Bananas a play close. Will they jump over to his right hand side? Double pick from the CTs, and there'll be no more frags for G2. Faze Clan make it to double figures.
And they did get the bomb down, so half ball is possible here, where we'll see G2 spending some money on pistols, maybe I doubt we'll see much in the way of armor, maybe 1 or 2, but they can get some P250s, CZs, maybe a bunch of utility, and that utility you can do these short pushes. I mentioned one of them earlier, where you just hit that A bomb site. You don't need an enormous amount of utility, but you do want some flashbangs and a couple of smokes. One smoke to help you get up short on the fast timing, and the second one to plant on short potentially, with a flashbang to just get you onto a bomb plant straight away, and then you play that post plant. You can see G2 are waiting or playing a bit slower here, and that's a good way to prevent yourself getting absolutely wrecked by an AWP holding mid. Ooh, are they just going to burst onto the B bomb side? That does look like what they're going to do. A B split here is coming from G2.
Lining up the smoke grenade. Shock's moving in. Who's going to move first? Moving wide, and Shocks wasn't ready. Didn't have his gun out, but there he is at the 1D. Burst, bleaching the floors. But Kenny's got to line up the pistol, and he's got to move before Shocks comes out the smoke, and there he is, of course, puncturing Olofmeister 2-on-2, and let's not forget, this is game point for G2. But how do they cross? Do they go at the same time? They're rotating out. They're taking massive gambles now, 40 seconds, and Kenny is in the side. I've seen this before on Overpass, where they have offered a fake with 1 player when they've only had 2 players alive, so he's going all the way around, nobody watching mid. And Kenny's going to have to die on his sword in the B bomb sites eventually.
This is actually, it's kind of incredible, because if you think about it, it could be a situation where they will hit the bomb plant and think that it's actually B if no one's watching this crossover, and then they'll run into Kenny. And Kenny, they can make the push across crossover onto the A site. So Shocks is on the A site and they have no idea. And it's a 1v1 because Shocks picked up a kill as well with the Deagle. This is incredible. There's a real chance here now for Shocks with the Deagle in hand, looking for the quad kill, and he knows exactly where Carrigan's coming from. It is a hard and awkward shot, but Shocks is the man to make it. He pushes in with the nades. Every single nade. Oh, Deagle comes out with the black ball. A bit more for Shocks. Can he find the shot? Some damage. Oh, it's the headshot from Karrigan. Faze are kept alive by the skin of their teeth.
I love those plays from G2. We saw one on overpass where Shox and Kenny were outside Monster Tunnel, and one player stayed there with the bomb, if I remember correctly. Another player rotated through connector up to A and just sold a fake on his own. Something along those lines. It's really awesome to see. What an effort from G2. What an effort. And that was the half buy.
Imagine if you're Karrigan in that spot. Imagine if you're Karrigan in that spot. You're retaking from CT. Okay, short is, you know, the guy that's left has no Kevlar, but it shocks with a deagle, and it's a 1v1. And if you lose the map, if you lose the round, sorry, you lose the map. That's actually pretty nuts. And that would be definitely a tilting way to lose the map after such a comeback. That was a lot of money lost for Faze as well. They, of course, have had quite a bit of success in the last few rounds, so they're able to fully buy. And at this point, it obviously doesn't matter because we come around and you're done. But still, it's nice to be able to have fun. Oh, my goodness. Is this going to overtime? Quick long
Flash to stop Faze pressing corner. 3 players in tow. We've got a crossover box. There's flashbangs now. This is getting super awkward. One in this position. We've got more teams coming in. The smoke of a grenade. And of course, Karrigan's in his pit position, so that was catastrophic. Shox and Kenny remain. Now Guardian's flanking. He's in T spawn, just holding an angle in case they escape, because Kenny hasn't committed to long just yet. Shox having a look for something, has to position himself, has to stay, has to Nico. Kenny avoiding the flashbang and covering his back, and here we are, 2-on-2.
The dynamic duo, Kenny and Shox. You don't want them to be left, and here comes Guardian. Oh, that was a close one. Did they spot him? Looks like they did. They heard the footsteps, and as Guardian knows now, and there comes the flash. Can he get to cover in time? Just barely able to escape. 50 seconds to go. Now Olafmeister closes in on the flank and holding his position. Olafmeister looking for 2. He's going to find 1 and the second. That is beautiful from him. Crisp, clean execution. And Faze are on 12.
No bomb plants. Doesn't mean Nico though. There was extra money in the back for G2, so I mean, one player is slightly short. Olafmeister all over this run of the last 2 kills. Again, the game sense is just through the roof. Infinite numbers is constantly spinning. He's in a matrix. 12-15 in favor of G2. Still at match. They have lost 5 game points in a row. This is their second half full buy, I think it's fair to say, unless they plant the bomb, of course. But they would be sans AWP, unless Body had the money.
G2, well, they go for that long take again. Faze have been holding it fairly well. I can see them building that map control here into middle, and they have short as well, and a decent timing. They can just spring onto this A site, and if they start tossing utility and they pull the AWPer towards crossover, and that means then Karrigan will be isolated in pits. That's one way you can do this. However, perhaps it's not convincing enough. Nico's still ready to throw nades there. In comes the rotation from Nico, leaving Karrigan alone. And this is the way you can take it. But if Nico, oh, that is so strong from Nico. He knows exactly what's going on.
Now push towards that long position. Some flashes from the T's. And Karrigan still alive, picking Body off as well. This second last line looking bad for G2 at present. 5 versus Karrigan managing to move into the pit position in the meantime. CT spawn, but that's only a cameo appearance in this round. Nico holding an angle now for the while Karrigan still in the pit. No more flashbang support for Karrigan, and he will go down. Nico trying to see if anybody jumps, but again, the awareness is awesome. He knows that this play can be made. Shots are charging through the smoke. They both know what each other might be trying to do. Constant maneuvering from both sides. Flank again.
Oh my god. Olafmeister comes in at the end. Oh, wow, but both teams are playing this really well. I mean, G2 have been working as hard as they can. I love that they broke the crossfire with the smoke grenade to immediately eliminate Karrigan in pit, and then Kenny and Shox become so dangerous moving up long. But that kill from Nico was so critical. The whole... Oh my god.
Wait, what?
What is that? I am out of words. I am out of words for that one. My God, Nico delivering for Faze here. Olaf has been doing a great job as well, but again, the team play, the crossfire setup, very dynamic. Nico gets the first kill, and again, let's not forget, the T's are trying to pull Nico away from Karrigan so they can isolate Karrigan, kill him, and then overwhelm Nico as they push and split onto the A bomb site. Nico gets the first pick, which stops that, and that allows him to then go back and help Karrigan, and then Karrigan and Nico are still playing off each other, and it's just so difficult for G2 to break it. That was, again, Nico is just playing out of his mind right now.
Even though G2 only have one full buy left, it's entirely plausible that they win the game with this buy. The CZs and so on, they seem to have an execute in mind. And again, we've seen the lurk smoke from them before. It looks like Smith is going to throw the lurk smoke into the B bomb site on this occasion. This is kind of more to the left is where you throw it from. You can bounce it off of that side where the arrow is. And that's roughly the idea. Now, this is the value in throwing the lurk smoke on previous rounds where you don't really commit behind it with numbers, because when you finally do, they may not be prepared. Towards the mid position, they might not have so many players here, but there are 3 players towards this B bomb site.
Yeah, it seems like Faze has completely read this. The perfect setup to deal with it. Guardian knows what's going on. Coming out, teasing. Ooh, Guardian follows up though. He's up the second one. Faze will eat G2 alive on the third. Does not seem like it's going to happen whatsoever. Existence finished off as well, and Faze moved to 14. 1 away from overtime. 1 away from an enormous comeback.
Even though that did not work out for G2, the idea of just presenting constant evidence throughout a match, here's a lurk smoke here, lurk smoke there, maybe there's one guy behind it, maybe no one pushes, and then you burst through it, can have its advantages. But at this point, at this late in the game, when you've got nothing to lose in that round, maybe it's somewhat telegraphed, but it is now. The last buy for G2, the last round in normal time. Can take this to a third map. Shots in existence, all the way towards long. Will Faze have the best, but it hasn't been this round. They've still got flashes coming in on that side. We've seen it in the sky, but once again.
Yeah, this is going the way of Faze right now, as it seems impossible to find the frags in the position that they need, and they have to abandon ship. Kenny and Body against 5 here to prevent overtime. And it looks like that's going to be very difficult. 4 Faze players surrounding the bomb. How do you do this? G2, they have Kenny with that AWP. Kenny is the one that can do this, if anyone can on G2. But the open spaces, the ability for G2 to, for Faze to play off one another is so good. And Body, can he help out? Kenny, that's a good first miss. Nico, Kenny will take full advantage. But there's the trade. Guardian, ever dangerous from B. And now Body, what on earth does he do? It's such a hopeless position to find yourself in. Jumping across a voice Guardian. But you still got 3 players there.
That's a guaranteed. Oh, that's nice from Body. 3 versus 1 for Faze Clan. Now to 2, and that will be enough for overtime. Faze Clan, what a comeback that was. So many rounds with game points on the line, and now we finally see some smiles. Almost a smirk from Nico in the previous round, but now the relief is there. Just laughing like, look, wow, we are Faze. Basically. Jeez Louise.
Oh my God. I don't know. I wasn't believing in it, James. I wasn't believing in the comeback. Were you?
No, I thought it was fairly likely. But look at the first map of the first match. So I thought it was fairly likely we would see 3 maps. But now you do start to wonder.
Yeah, they're all like, everyone on Faze is all warmed up now. Warmed up to DUST2.
Yeah, and you quite like, where is the momentum now? The momentum is with Faze Clan. They appear to have solved the problems that were costing them rounds in the CT side. So you have to say that they have all the advantages now going into overtime.
Also, G2 won both pistol rounds, and the pistol rounds, the economy factor is not really present right now. So yeah, Faze, they just have everything going for them. In G2, they must win the come back. 32 overtimes. My God. 32 overtimes. That is unreal. Either way, Corpse here for Faze. As you say, James, they have found great solutions. Their defenses on A bomb side, on short, on long, have been really strong in the last few rounds. That's very encouraging. They'll quickly abandon long though, and G2, what are they up to? Looks like they may go for an A burst, but they need the perfect grenades here.
These are the reads of Faze. Again, on the previous map, they were one step ahead of G2. And that long area. Something. Oh, Kenny S says no though. Existence charging up now. That's a 2 for 1. I'll take that. 4 versus 3 for G2 with more than a minute on the Geordie card. Rain holding down the A side.
Rain is just so consistent. The bursting is so strong. And he is just such a problem. And he'll buy so much time and finish off the last one. Rain is just so good. My goodness. When Shox is just charging up along with the AK, just the bursting style of Rain is... There's no one quite like him. A very special player indeed.
Credit to the flashbang support from the team as well. Very important on CT DUST2, very important. 2 AWPs, 4 Faze. The 1 to G2, they've got this on. Money otherwise. Surely can't get a spray transfer. Nico to he manages to got Jules in the mid position. Bullets whizzing past him with some free fire in there, trying to keep these CTs entertained and slow down the rotation as G2 move away from long.
Yeah, that was quite dangerous. Faze actually predicted a B play, stacked 3 players towards B, expecting a B rush perhaps, and that has created a really big window for G2. The one for one favors them as they try to play the clock now, slow things down. But in the meantime, Faze will push up a dark, so Faze know exactly what's going on, I think, now. They can position themselves effectively. Nico in the or rather Guardian one somehow gets out of there. Nico does damage as well. What do you do from this position if you're G2? 2 ops on this A position. And they just have to jump across. They'll make it across. Oh, this is so difficult.
Could be very dangerous here. 4 CTs, 2 flashes as a boost as well, but Kenny's found one of them, maybe shooting through the smoke. I don't know. A flash of his own, bomb getting planted. Once again, Olofmeister slowly emerges. His shadow looms large over this whole map, and he's moving up the long position. Rain sort of seems to... Olofmeister should have got down there, surely. Now he's exposed, he's playing close. Angles are very limited. Shox delivering 2 from a short position. Olofmeister will trade 1-on-1, and Kenny will finish off the job. G2 winning the round. They had to win that round. If they went 0-2, 0-3, would have had high percentages. But they go 1 for 1 so far. 3 rounds a half in this overtime. I don't even know what overtime this is for this major so far.
Oh wow. You gotta love the Kenny and Shox combo. That is quite the 1-2 punch right at the end. And their quality, their class will stay for the gap. I don't think anybody landing a kill, I think, today on the gap shot. And he can Guardian with the AWPs once again. 1 round apiece. Definitely considering how much of a struggle it became for G2 in the regulation on the T side. It must feel good to pick up that round. It was hard fought though, and Faze changed their setup. Look at this presence on the short position. We haven't seen this before from them.
The second flash catches the peak after they avoid the first one. G2, and it gives them a lot of advantages. But Nico, he's in an exposed position, more flashbangs. He'll have to concede to the site, and Shox is on long already, which means that Olofmeister's search will be harder now. 5 versus 3 in favour of G2. Body in lower tunnel movement. Olofmeister's coming down the stairs, looks to his left, still frags to his right, however. So now there is a way for Faze to get back into this.
It's going to be very difficult though, in G2 looking in really strong post-bomb positions. They've got a player deep on long, one behind the car, one graffiti, one on the bomb boxes. That is so difficult, and there's no Molotov to force any of these players out of position. Olofmeister though, he's been incredible, as have the rest of the Faze players. Denying themselves one after the other from all these positions. Guardian makes a good go of it, but it's the second T round on overtime 1 for G2, and after that massive comeback.
Trivia, if you have an AWP, you can shoot through the car on long. If somebody's hiding behind it, just aim at the windows and you will pretty much eventually shoot them in the head. But of course, Nico didn't know somebody was there, wasn't in a position to really concede where he is for a guess. And there's the second round. So many guns aimed at him.
The Smith through the smoke, he's just such a gangster with smoke kills.
Yeah, this has been his major for smoke kills for sure. But will it be their match? Will it be their map to take to the third? They have a 1-round lead at present. We're looking for the first team to 19 rounds, which means that Faze have to win all 3. G2 just needs to win 2. And made their way into long.
Yeah, from them, fast long take, that is. And, you know, again, the reactions are fairly... I mean, it's pretty obvious the rotations you force after that. You take away long, CTs have to put those players on short, which is what we see. So how you then deal with that situation is up to you, but if you want to go B split after that, the rotation is very easy for the CTs. So building into a short take can be quite powerful. As I say that, Smith pushes into the B tunnels, and that's not a good look for Faze. They are... Oh my god, he goes back across, he's crazy.
That's beautiful, but he has the information. The bomb comes up on the radar. I was about to say, that would have been very interesting because Faze were already rotating towards the B bomb site, and G2 would think, okay, there's no one else towards B, they have to go away, and Faze were thinking, they think that, but we're already going towards B, but the jump back from existence spots the bomb and cancels all of those plays. So that may have been a slight, well, something for Faze to exploit despite being in a 4 versus 5, but now they're back towards that A site. And again, they are a man down.
I've got to just walk. What is the plan for this round? Walk into A. That's basically what they have to do now. They just walk up long, straight into the A site. And they lose this round. They're going to have to win 2 in a row just to force them to time. This is getting very tricky here for Faze. And there come the counter grenades from G2. There's this as well. As G2 try to slow him down. Smokes got a grenade in his hand. And smokes across the site to make things difficult for Kenny. Can they get the bomb down? Looks like they can. Just in the nick of time. Faze in a 4v3 off the plant somehow. Very good work from them.
I just saw the most ridiculous frag from Guardian around that car position, and suddenly they turn it around. Faze. G2 caught going for gimmicks, and that has compromised their advantages in this round. They may even lose. A quick peek from Rain, and it's not a jack in the box for G2, and they get absolutely wiped out. They keep going for those gimmick smokes, but that was just a second too late for Shox deploying it. A free kill for Faze, plenty of position. You see him getting caught there. Matchmaking strats, that's the frag from Guardian. I don't even know how he found that one. And after that, it all fell apart. Rain baiting with a very fast crouch peek. Well, stand and then crouch again. I don't know if there's a name for that. I feel like G2 gave that away. I mean, they can't know what's in the corner, right? But it's just hard to watch when you see them lose their opportunity like that.
Well, it's in Shox's position. As 30 seconds up in the round, you could just drop the smoke earlier, but... So very blind. Ooh, Body does some good damage back in G2. They very well should have won that last round, perhaps, but they've sure as hell have made a good go at this one. They've got a great advantage. Rain and Olofmeister tagged up significantly. Long position still held by G2, and Olofmeister, he's been a multi-tool. He's been able to get them out of so many situations. Oh, but not this one.
You see how he peeks the ramp, but with his back to the wall. It's a very common thing in professional Counter-Strike because there's a very strong double peek you can have there with the ramp player and Body. So one of the ways to try and avoid that is to have your back to the wall and go very, very wide on the peak towards that ramp position. Olofmeister close, but not quite. Leaves Faze in a 3 versus 5 situation. Hasn't stopped them before, though. Again, first team to 19. By Smith. Sees one more player, Carrigan taken out, that leaves Guardian alone in a 1 versus 5, trying to the G2. And we can't get anything done, no damage, no impact. Game point for G2.
I'm starting to think back to that round where there was 20 seconds left and Shox is caught with an 8 in his hand. Because it would be map 3 already if they had won that one. It's not over just yet, but can they do it again here? Faze will have enough money on that T side to get a buy in this third round. We'll see a UMP in play. or a Mac 10 actually, it seems like. Perhaps there's a misfire, I'm not sure, but Guardian has the Mac 10. It looks like someone has called a B rush. It's actually a 4-out B rush. Mr. Nate as well, in they go. Smith takes down number 1, and
he can't repeat. Nico in position to cut off the rotators as well. Do they have the recon grenades though? The Molotov where Olofmeister is standing right now. We've got a molly on Shocks and a molly on body. If Olofmeister is under the window, it would be really hard. He's going to have to wait out. A Molotov landing on Smith's chin. With a superior angle, just like an inner run, but he's shut this down. And it looks like we are going to overtime too, unless we see some heroics from the final 2 players.
Now it's just down to body, 1v4, and he'll get shut down. And indeed, overtime 2. Faze bring it back with a B rush. Whoever had the balls to call that, that's pretty awesome.
You know that the T's, once they get into the site, there's always a Molotov, never a smoke on the window position. If you put a smoke up there, it does allow the CTs to burst through it. You have less of a warning with them in that position. And I did wonder with those mollies coming in if G2 would try to smoke it or something with the time ticking. But Nico was a huge problem from short to outside B. He really closed out the round for his team once they were in position on the B bomb site. And here we go again. Yet another overtime. 18-18, the first team now to 22 rounds. You can see the emotions, people getting frustrated, maybe feeling their best chance is gone. And indeed, base OT, we're at number 33.
Excellent. Right. And the gap shot connected once again. Slow start here, and very standard from G2 and Faze.
There's not a time to admire fruit baskets, Carrigan.
And Faze will not send anyone into the dark position, and often you'll do that because you can just cover more bases and you can still end up at short, but it looks like they want a faster timing onto short, which is indicative, as we're not seeing the default, that they may just want to burst or walk onto the bomb site. We'll have to see. And he's waiting though, his position's so strong, surely he's falling back, he's falling back, he's off guard, and that's an open A bomb site.
Absolutely, on shorts, on long, that is a wrap, that's the round over. It is time to save 3 and 4, CP taken away, Shocks getting tagged. What a disaster, you can't even, he was unlucky by Faze. They had a read that they may be a sniper. Obviously, they've got snipers of their own, plenty of them on their T side. They know the angles that the CTs will like to hold, and it is completely avoided, out-maneuvered. Existence and Shocks remain 2 versus 5, and there are big monetary problems for G2. Again, if you lose the first round, you get wiped out in the first round as a CT side, especially when AWPs are involved. If you lose 2, you're so number 3. So they managed to get 2 A's out of it. Some bodies, and that might be very interesting indeed. No reason for Existence to engage in that duel at the end. There's nothing he can get out of it. He must save his weapon. Faze Clan 19-18. Again, it is the first team to 22 rounds we're looking for to either take this to a 2-0. Sorry, a 1-1, or take it to a 2-0 and send G2 Esports home. AWP for both sides well equipped as it is round 2. 3 rounds and a half again. Guardian moving towards long. There are some flashes from the G side, but there were flashes from being attempted by both sides. They will be shocked to trade 4 versus 3 very early on. And we have a fast Nico moving up the long position. Taken out to both slayers, and this makes a fast round, very fast round. Yes, it is 19 apiece. Very fast round indeed.
1-for-1. Suddenly, these teams have found quite the level footing as we move into overtime, and it's been really interesting so far to see what makes a difference. And G2, a team that gives up long on the CT side more than a lot of teams tend to, and still it's been a struggle for Faze to rise as perhaps much they'd like. Surely knows he's got a frag there indeed. Rain finish it off. And that wall of smoke is very difficult to deal with. What is the response here from G2? You hate this as the CTs. You have to give up that long position. You're down a man. You know you have to respond somehow, but what is the best choice? We'll see a rotation in towards the mid position. Existence trying to offer some support here. Flashbang to peek with. And Kenny doesn't see a single thing. That's certainly going to tell them one thing. There's a lot of players on that long area. Carrigan looking for the rotation.
Oh, Existence tries to bait almost, but that's the costly one really taken out. Carrigan is still in position. Kenny still on short. There's a grenade to finish off. I don't know what the French for that is. Kenny moves from his position. Guardian still has control of long, and that might be where Shox is headed, but how much time really is there? Nico on the site, Rain on the slope, Olofmeister at the car position. There is the first frag. Smith looking for an angle, and surely he gets the best case scenario. Trying to bait Rain now. Olofmeister will take the bait and take him out. Slowly coming in from long, but Guardian's in the pit position. The head is shown, but there's no frag for him. The last frag's got to go for it. Olofmeister, though, will instantly trade. Perfect angles being played by Faze. Good for a one-round lead at half-time.
Yeah, this time they're up on the lead. First overtime. But perhaps this overtime will be more kind to them. Let's see if they can close things down as they move on to the CT side. And maybe that's on G2. We haven't seen too much aggression from Faze on that CT side. They play it fairly standard. And, I mean, sure, of course they can. I mean, they're Faze. They have amazing individuals, and it's up to G2 to find a way to break that. And if we remember to some of the CT sides we've seen recently from Faze, they've had great success holding against these A-long attacks. In fact, not only have they had success there, they've often won rounds there. So that seems to be a no-go for G2. So I have to wonder at this point, will G2 find another way? Will we see more B? More B splits, haven't we?
Oh, people are starting to get cheeky now. Guardian having a look through the doors, and there is no harm done to either side, but it is a warning shot. Things changing now. And we see this boost that we were talking about many moons ago in this game. Carrigan alone towards long. There is, actually there isn't flashbang support. Nico with no grenades on the A site, no flashes rather. Well then, what does G2 choose to do? What is their approach? Guardian getting even more cheeky towards B. Close, but a jiggle peeking will do the job for G2.
Yeah, they got that short position at G2 again. They're fairly standard. You got short, you got long house, you got someone in dark. Figure out what the CD setup looks like. Ooh! Oh. Olofmeister's on 6 HP. Oh. Some shots through the smoke, angry shots as he fades away to safety.
I'm amazed he fires a bullet there. I thought he might try to punish the reload, but who knows if there's a second play. Waiting for that kind of play to come. Charging through to the A site now. RG2 Existence falling back onto the floor, collected by Kenny. Nico missing the flick, and he's got to fall back. Carrigan's there for support. They can hold on for long. Body is lurking though, and eventually Faze long players will have to focus on A.
Yeah, there's no one for Faze, which means that this will be very difficult. Obviously, there's a good setup there from G2, but that's one of the best ways to secure this round on the retake. Coming from CT is very difficult, and Kenny holding this angle, if there's a flashbang, it's going to be very hard to stop him. He's running low now. Shox is taps coming out as he will annihilate and Guardian, and there's little left now for Faze to make this one work. G2, really good finish to the round.
Side of the face. Well then, 20-20. First team to 22. One of these teams must win both of these rounds, otherwise it is overtime again. 2 AWPs on the T side now, and I would expect an AK to be on the floor in this round. Auto sniper as well, really ramping up the damage. They've now that's a huge frag. Although what isn't on Faze Clan?
Yeah, that is an enormous drag, you're right. And let's not forget they don't have any utility. This really, you know, 4v5, you've got no utility with 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the CT side of DUST2. That's a call to action right there. You've got to make some plays happen. Nico's the one to try to do it with the boost, and this is very difficult. You can see, oh my god, this just makes me nervous just watching it. And the flash comes in, that's going to force him back, and they have information that there's 2 players on shore, and considering that they know that there's only 4 players on Faze in total, they can assume that long is safe to take. And indeed, they can just move into long, and they figured it out. I think have they figured it out?
But look at Smith. He's at the bottom of mid with the bomb. They haven't seen that, but he must be careful. Rain looking over the smoke, and I don't think they're going to see any players from short. You can't see through Suicide, so they won't see this rotation. Will they go towards long because Existence is still deploying grenades? So this is going to be a nasty surprise for them. They don't have enough info. He's Guardian now. He sees that there's one more player there. He can go for these repicks, or can he? Kenny says no.
Beautiful refrag from Kenny. So I think everyone expected CT to go A there, and they really threw it 4-1. Wow, that is incredible. Nico finds Existence on the flank. That's a very important kill. Maybe there's a chance now as they go 3 versus 3. There is an incendiary on Nico, so there's some utility to play with. Looking for a pick, something to be offered up. Looks like no one's going to move a muscle there. Perhaps into Carrigan, can't quite find the frag quickly, but still gets it in the end, and there's no response here from Faze.
They've got no kits.
Yeah, they'll turn and save.
They've got no kit, so that will shut down the round. And it is, again, I don't know how many game points G2 have at this point, but here comes another one. Well, all 3 rounds in this half, then they are good to go for number 3.
It was so... I hope that was a conscious choice from G2, because it was very smart, because if you're in G2's position, you're down a man, you're thinking, we're 2 players on the A side of the map. They spotted 2 of us on short. That means they know A is for free. And then G2 goes silent, and Faze have no info on long, so they can only assume that they're going A long. Did a better job than 4.
Faze need a restraining order because that is way too much harassment from G2. Rain and long, Nico and Carrigan in short and CT spawn respectively. The Carrigan's moving away from spawn. Olofmeister with a push with the UAV. His body has gone out. Is he ready for this? Does he? And he thinks he's going to fall back, so he moves forward. A flash from his teammate, but everyone's flashed. Everybody's blind, and everyone gets away with their brazen plays. That could have been it for Faze.
Yeah, you can see how much they really needed a frag there. You won't get too many opportunities to get a man advantage, and with the CZ and UMPs, you've got to find it somehow quickly. This is, oh, that's such a hard shot. That's such a hard shot. Carrigan there to support. Is he looking to go for something here? Again, they need to make plays here. They've got to take risks, and he goes next to the smoke. Now, this can work, but G2 don't seem to want any part of that smoke, and they are holding off at the moment, looking towards B.
They know there's a UMP on B. Nico's fired 1 shot. They know there's an AWP on A. What would you favour? Olofmeister playing close. He is expectant. He prepares a flashbang. Carrigan tries to move towards the area. But the T's aren't really in. So, I mean, the C's taken out. Guardian towards the car position. There he goes as well. Surely now G2 can do this.
Yeah, this is a key so strong. Again, very little retake grenades coming in here. Carrigan looking for a headshot. Will someone offer anything to him? Looks like that's not going to be the case. They are playing it so supremely safe. Rain, oh my god, how is he alive? 1 more step forward and he would be dead. It doesn't matter. Nico might be off the back of a boost or something. But again, the return kills coming in. I have no idea how this is happening. And now Shox waits, looking for the clutch. My goodness, Carrigan, is there time?
Oh my god, how in the blazes are we going to overtime again?
Wow, how did Carrigan make that shot work? That's incredible.
There was a huge boost from Nico. Wait till you see this. That was crazy. I can't believe they haven't won the game. Oh, they don't have it, unfortunately. There's too much going on at the same time.
Absolutely.
But there was a boost over the wall. I saw a cap. I saw the cap of somebody's head near the entrance to B, and there we are. Another overtime. G2. They just can't tip it over the edge.
Just think how close that was. Just how much on a nice edge that was. The fact that Rain was in the tunnels and he was so instrumental, and he had a nade. I had no idea he was about to be peaked. I think it was by an AWP or something, whatever it was, would have killed him if he just moves 1 inch further forward. But he was completely safe, able to pull his gun out, able to come in the perfect timing as Carrigan forces his way in as well after Nico gets traded. So much going on there, just a game of inches.
That's the problem with Faze. That is a problem with Faze. They can always win the rounds. They can always win the round. 34 overtimes.
Oh my god.
34 overtimes.
That's insane.
Double We've got another cheeky peek, and he's ready for it, but a slight move, a slight strafe before he shoots. And once again, there is an escape from Guardian.
And the boost comes in again, and might just catch.
Oh, he saw the legs. That's the problem with the boost, is that behind that box you can't see much. Smiths will decapitate Rain. Closed casket funeral for him. Nico's still on that short position.
It feels like Faze have played a man down quite a few rounds now on this CT side. Shox moving up close. So in all of the strategy, Shox is finding space on A long. Is off on the A side. There's 3 players here. Shox looking for a shot there. He's been discovered. His body finds the push from Olfmeister, who sees so much pressure on A. He's thinking, I got to go for the push on the flank, but gives himself up the body. And now there's a free passage to that B bomb site.
Does he peek T-Sport? He sees one player in mid, so he probably doesn't, and that is quite the shot from Smith. So the bomb was outside long this entire time. They've had B for a while, G2. The bomb is still rotating. Smith has secured lower tunnel, so Shox has a chariot into the B bomb site. The carpets are out.
I was wondering if Guardian wanted to do anything there, because this is the first round of overtime 3.
And you've got, leave his teammate.
And you've got double orbs and an M4, and so double orbs are so expensive, and you really want to have those moving into the next rounds. Again, if Faze are to lose the next round and they lose the orbs, then
they broke.
They are very broke. Yes,
they are broke, and again, that will just mean that G2 have another opportunity, another opportunity to map 3. How many rounds does it take for G2 to take it to a third match? That is second core survival now. He's going to get sent into oblivion as a flying existence. He goes down as well. So some highlights for Nico as he tries to hold on to this AWP.
He's so damn good.
Almost a saving ace.
All those shots were pretty damn nice.
Memories of the Flaren.
I mean, of course it is, as you say, you know, kills when you're saving, but they're actually, those are really important kills. Those are so important. He has to hold on to the orb. I mean, look at the money right now. You guys will see it in a moment. Nico has $250. He just had to drop to his teammates. They got nothing if they lose this round. Nothing. That is...
Yeah, plenty of it this round so far. Now Kenny doesn't shoot through the smoke because he's seen Guardian twice looking in front of the smoke. So maybe Faze, they get towards B for free. A pop flash for Nico to secure the long pick. He will engage shots later. Is he going to dry peek? He is going to dry peek.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff from Shox, and it does not pay off. And if they move into the B split, they will be sorely disappointed. Decided to go towards that B bomb site. Oh, Guardian must be cautious there. Rain he is salivating. He knows there are frags coming his way.
Rain loves standing on.
Yes, favorite pastime, and that is why.
Well, this is looking very free for Faze, and it's exactly what they need. Some bursts from Carrigan, and now it's body 1 versus 4. He has position. Carrigan has an off angle, but they know he's top mid. The Molotov will allow the CTs to get into yet better positions. He has an AK, however. That's a saving grace. He can pop heads, squeeze grapes. they concede very easily. Carrigan moving into the T-spawn area. And Body now has 28 seconds as he respects the smoke, holding a gap. There are 3 players surviving for Faze, and you wonder if they'll continue to hunt. Yes, they will.
22-22. And as I say, that is so important. They will avoid any money issues, and Nico's just so good. So damn good. KGC, what is the play? What is the play? Again, this is why things get kind of dodgy, because they definitely have been shying away from the A-long plays. They're going to go for it this round. But you can see that Faze actually don't have too much to pick. This is right around the side. It's Smith to get the frag. Nico's isolated by the car. This is really bad for Nico right now.
He's blind. There's fire near him. Things are warm. He's confused. Not quite sure who to talk to. Just an old car for friendship. On long. Well, the angles are irrelevant. 4 versus 3 as players, a lot on both sides. Nico has been dispatched off by existence. Again, that car is penetrable. It's a paper car.
And this is really rough now, because G2 have such a good approach onto the A bomb site, and Faze are trying to get position here. I think they get a boost in. I'm not sure if they got a boost in there onto the short position. Perhaps Rain. But how do they build this G2? They don't have anyone on the bomb side to stop anything. Well, that's one way, but the trade comes in onto Olof from Kenny, and Guardian, more damage. My goodness, Brain, oh my god, that's so close. There goes, oh no, he whiffs the underhand throw of the HE, and that's going to cause problems. Smith stays alive and gets the bomb down. That's huge.
Down to the wire, no grenades for the T's. Existence holding on to long, Guardian creeping up short. Sorry, creeping up the slope, and Rain's making his way on short, so of trouble. There we go. Now Existence with an off angle. No flashes, but there's a smoke on the bomb. Guardian taken out. He's got to get his skates on. Rain goes. He's coming off it, and he knows he's got to draw Existence out. And there is the round for Faze, and they're happy with that.
Oh, what a close one. Guardian, how on earth did he get those kills? That was so important. Nico's on 44 kills right now, 44 for 28. And the closest man to him is Kenny S with 36.
And that's match point for Faze. They've got 2 match points now.
That's the first time we're seeing that in overtimes.
Match point Faze. G2 have had plenty of opportunities to take this to map number 3, and everyone has failed. Faze have had the most unreal comebacks, but it wouldn't be Faze without them.
Absolutely, yeah, they've really come together here, and Nico stepped up in such an important way. And I've got to hand it to Guardian too. Pretty much everybody on Faze has really been doing a great job. And Carrigan has had some great plays too. And all of that effort from every single individual of Faze to take this one. That's a testament to G2's ability here on DUST2. They're going so aggressive. Oh, Kenny's so lucky to be alive here. Existence is so deep. These smokes, surely they must know. And Guardian with a very fast flick there to deal with him. Kenny S knows they have to get something out of this. Tries to stay in the 4th position, but he can't for much longer.
They're moving towards Fox. He can hear them. He's got the M4. He's got cover. Carrigan flying onto the car, and that is short. 4 versus 2. The advantage. Body trying to charge in. Not quite happening for him. He has a Molotov. Kenny looking for a flanker, and of course it's Nico on short again. And G2 are moving away to the A site. But unless I'm missed, am I confused? Is this not match point?
Hang on. No, it's not.
It's not match point. Okay, I'm confused.
It starts to get...
Oh, you know what? I completely misread the scoreboard. Looked at the blue, that's why.
Yeah.
It's 25, isn't it?
That's the same thing.
Okay.
Rudimentary mathematics change.
I'm back in a room, ladies and gentlemen.
Everything goes upside down when you get to overtime number 3.
Yes.
Everything's upside down.
We are back in the room. We're back in the room. That'll be interesting. Eventually, we're going to have people saving against match point.
It'll probably be me. the best way to, well, the worst way to get out of it.
I mean, with the tweets players get when they lose a match, that's not, you don't want to be in that. Oh my goodness, Guardian.
Incredible, isn't it?
Oh, that's a nice correction from Carrigan. So now we are at match point. It is indeed 25 rounds for Faze Clan. Double, well, AWPs on both sides. G2, they bring this back. They need 2 from 2. Managed to go between 3. They've got some charges towards the pit. Has an opportunity. And that's what I do alive for this moment.
Oh no, Nico picks off Smith, who's pushing the B tunnels. That is a really big problem now, because the thing about this is that Faze can rotate to B. If Faze has cut noise, G2 have zero clue what the hell they're doing. How do G2 know where to put their players? It's just impossible to know. G2 could be seeing an A push in 30 seconds, or it could be a B push. And it'll be a numbers advantage for Faze, that much is for sure. So they have to play a gamble, or defensively. This is a horrible situation. You're up against match point. What do you choose?
Nico may have heard the flash from the CTs on, was it a flash? No, it was a smoke on short, which may be telling of what G2 don't have. One thing is information, and they're looking for it. Body is towards the corner of long, and Kenny's moved into the car position, but it is complete guesswork against match point. It's not shocks on its existence. He is isolated and a bit to be smokes are there. Kenny watches the window. He sees one. There's no time to reload. Under the window now, and he is completely blind. Nico once again in mid position, waiting to cut off the rotators. Did Kenny see him? Did he come up on the radar? Kenny hunting for him, but he has disappeared. Body has a molly, so does Kenny. And AWP AK retake attempt now. These places to do it, forcing rain out in the there. That's one more left for Kenny, but no, Carrigan does it, and Faze eliminate G2 and make it to playoffs.
Oh my god, G2, they gave a hell of a show, but they are going to be kicking themselves again and again, because this game, as you said, James, they had so many opportunities to close this one down against Faze, and they were unable to do it. And you've got to hand it to them for having such a performance in overtime, and then